Hey everybody, welcome back to another Motivation Monday podcast for Monday, December 9th, 2019. This week we are going to continue our holiday buying guide for 2019. I put up a post in the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community Facebook group, and I've been getting some fantastic responses, and I wanted to highlight one of those today. I think that this is something that we've never talked about on the show before, but is probably going to be one of the most valuable things you can get in terms of your jazz development. And that centers around a person who was absolutely vital to the history of jazz education, maybe one of the most important educators, if not the most important educator, and that person is David Baker. So if you're not familiar with who David Baker is, I'm sure most of you out there are familiar with him, but he was somebody who founded one of the first jazz education programs in the entire country at the Indiana University Jacobs School of Music. And he was just an absolute trailblazer when it came to, getting a group of students and turning them into amazing musicians. Now, he also has, and this is pretty crazy if you think about this output, he has more than 65 recordings, 70 books, and 400 articles to his credit, all about jazz and jazz education. So if you think about that beyond anything else, that is just amazing, the amount of output that he created to help jazz students such as ourselves to be better musicians. So kudos to David Baker. Now, what we want to talk about is some of his books. Let's talk about a couple of the essential titles that you should have in your library. And I've got to thank David from the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community. He's the one that brought these books up and said that he recently bought a bunch of them and that he likes them very much. And these books have been around for a long time, but that's really a true test, is can it be relevant for decades, and these books are more than relevant. So let's talk about a couple of these titles, and maybe you can go out and pick them up or put them on your Christmas list or something like that. So we're going to talk about 3 books in particular. He obviously has a lot more out there, but I think if you started with these 3 volumes, you would get a lot out of them, and it would really drastically improve your playing. So the first title we are going to talk about is called Jazz Improvisation, A Comprehensive Method for All Musicians. And this is his volume where he really breaks things down to their core and really teaches you how to improvise using his method from zero. So I highly recommend that book. That should be a book no matter kind of where you are in your development. You should have that on your bookshelf. It's a great reference. Even if you are a little bit more advanced, I just recommend having this in your library. Sometimes if you're lacking inspiration, or you realize, and this has happened to me many times, you realize there's a core concept in jazz that you just don't fully understand, this would be a great book to go back to. So I recommend that one first. That should be something that everybody out there should order today. Jazz Improvisation, A Comprehensive Method for All Musicians. Now, the other 2 volumes that I'm going to recommend to you today are his How to Play Bebop series. And this is going to be volume 1 and volume 2. I know a lot of you guys tune into this program because we do talk a lot about bebop, and we know that that's kind of the foundation that all modern jazz is built on. And these 2 books, absolutely essential reading for everybody. Starts you right from the beginning and takes you through to some fairly complicated devices in volume 2. So these are going to be really important books for everybody out there to have. And I got to thank David for bringing these books up. I wouldn't have thought of these, but I'm really glad that I got the chance to bring these up on the podcast and make sure that all of our listeners out there own these books and use them to their full potential. It can only do good things for your playing. And go check out David Baker. Type him into YouTube, do a little bit of research. His Wikipedia page is absolutely fascinating when you realize how much this man did for us as a community of musicians, how many students came through his program, and just what a wonderful legacy to have to really be the person that kind of brought this jazz education to the masses. All right, that post is still up over in the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Community Facebook group. Go and tell me what you've been using this year, what has benefited you as a musician, and let's share it with everybody else so that we can get all of these important tools into the hands of all of our listeners. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you on Friday with a regular episode. Thanks again to David and everybody else that has interacted with that post, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.